Yeah, response video to a couple of videos, I think. One from this Freethink guy, 21293, and Fred. Yeah, Fred just he made a video about consciousness. It's still on Blip, so I saw it there. But mostly was just talking about eyes and how we do this binocular vision thing and its depth perception. And so I'll take care of that first, because he also did a video last week. I'll post a link to. Maybe I'll post this as a response to it. Um, I think his dog Guy died. He didn't say anything about it, but yeah. He did a pretty good video, falling over the cliff thing. So it's one of his tricks. I know how he did the carrot. The smashing his finger with the can of whatever it was, dog food. But that just has to do with the can. It's really easy to squish a can, you know, that way, put a dent in one. So yeah, you could just smash one over your finger. But this trick, falling over the cliff thing, that was pretty good. So he must have had a mound of dirt like 4 feet from the edge of the cliff, and he decided he could fall into that, before the edge, and not go over the edge. But you got to figure you could fall under that ground, and that ground could all give way, and you drop 100 feet. So, Fred really does suffer for his art, so to speak, and risk. Got to give the guy credit for that. Tattoos, even, for the sake of it. Um, so anyway, about his dog, I felt that, because I watched one video, he always was ball with the other dog, and he just said about how Guy wasn't feeling too well. And, the next video was off the cliff with the muzzle. So, you can only, it sort of says it, right? But he didn't say anything in the driving video. So I'm just thinking maybe some videos were posted before others, because they're automatically posted from Blip, and the other one he put in, so the timing is different. So that's all I can guess. So anyway, it's sort of a big event. When you have a dog for a number of years, and Fred almost quit his job and stuff over that dog being in trouble and stuff. So that's sort of a big event. So I'm sorry, Fred. That's tough. Change sucks, so that's part of my, I just, you can't do that too many times in your life. It gets really tough after, it gets harder and harder to deal with those losses. Anyway, you gotta take a deep breath. Just even thinking about it. Oh, life. Anyway, rocking back and forth. Yeah, it makes me a little autistic just thinking about what life is doing to things and what it's going to do to me. Anyway, so the consciousness thing, it's sort of about what gets focused on is, I think, part of this thing too. Because, look, eagles are pretty good at hitting their target fish. They really do well, and they don't have binocular vision. And there's lots of other animals that somehow compensate. So I think for us it was more about doing this focusing close-up thing. It's like the difference between needing to see things far away and needing to see things close up. And so I think primates were really interested in branch to branch kind of, dealing with the world. They really weren't doing the far away thing. They were doing the right in your face thing. And that might be what this binocular vision really is good for, is creating a capacity to instantly focus between 5 inches and 4 inches, and not too good really close, but in that hand range. This binocular stuff is really good at changing focus and getting it right, really well, and even how we select things out of our field of view. It might that selection process might also be facilitated through binocular vision, where it's kind of like if you do close one eye, you do seem a little clumsy in terms of finding your focus or finding what you're looking at. It's just not as sharp as like when what your eye catches is so much quicker and better when you have both eyes open or useful. So anyway, just how I look on that. All right, so the free thinker guy. Yeah, so this sort of gets you into the subject of, all these little subroutines that are running, all these mechanisms that make it possible for us to function that we don't really appreciate. All this hand-eye coordination stuff, all the learned muscle memory, the I even talk about one of my sleep videos. I think the last one. Um, just how you pick up little stupid things, little routines. Like I got into the habit of saying "and such," or in my videos I've been saying a lot, and that's one I've been haunted with the whole time I've been on YouTube. It's like a little routine that runs in my language program, and I just always saying that stupid and then anyway has shown up lately. I say anyway, what the hell? And it's just funny how these little routines get caught up in the mechanism and become part of how it functions. So the free thinker guy is basically asking me the question, I think, if I got his video right. That's sort of I'm sort of anti talking. I'm talking about desires being the negative, from the bottom up kind of motivator. For really crude, stupid motivations, and then we have this top down motivator of our intelligence, our intellect. And I'm sort of talking about this idea that there's principles and logic and thinking that should be kind of ruling us. And then he's sort of implying that there's a conflict there because you still have to turn into a want. And I guess what I'm arguing is there's not really a conflict. It's just part of the functionality. You have to use one of these little stupid mechanisms like an or an anyway, so there has to be some sort of pause mechanism that your brain can use this filler. It needs some sort of filler to just throw out there when it hasn't quite made the next sentence yet. It needs a little thing to, just throws that out there to say, don't bother me till I'm ready. And to do anything in life, you sort of have to make it personal. Your life has to be made personal. You have to be motivated through an emotional mechanism, a feeling mechanism. That's in the bottom line will get you to do something. So, how this all ties together further is that I talked about it in Stickam, Saturday. Just how that, sorry, one of the videos has a little bit of sound on it here. Gotta turn that down. Yeah, little photo frame with video. Anyway, Japanese girl singing and such. But whatever. Yeah, so I sort of got into this whole conversation that's basically, logic functions that way, thinking, rationality. You can't really just have principles or ideals that say, I'm going to do this. You sort of have to make yourself do it. So you have to want to do it. You have to turn it into cheese. So you have to turn the principled objective into an obligation, into something that's going to you'll be motivated to do it for a reason. So you have to tie it to some sort of attraction repulsion mechanism, some sort of feeling mechanism that will provoke you to do it. So I use the example sort of the jumping in the cold water thing, where you can sort of see your brain doing that. It's just waiting for you to get the emotional impulse, the impulse, the feeling impulse to push your body out into the water. You can't it just doesn't happen until you get emotional about it in a way, like fed up with yourself or pissed off, or there has to be some sort of something that sort of just does push you finally. Maybe there's better examples. There usually are, so I should probably come up with another one. But anyway, yeah. See, my brain says I should. Now I have to turn it into something to make me actually do it. I'll just say I should have, and I will take it no further than that, unless I make it important by emotionalizing it. I guess that's the simplest way to put it. We emotionalize our rational thoughts, the ones that come down from the top, don't have emotion automatically tied to them. The intellectual stuff isn't emotional by its nature, where the crude stuff, the want, the desire already has the emotion tied to it, so it doesn't have to be applied. But an intellectual principle has to go through that filter and get a little bit of emotion attached to it before you're going to turn into action. You have to get passionate about it. Yeah. So, but this idea that we're more that we are more than one mind is, I guess, part of this whole thing, is that there's this real conflict about what's going to own your brain, or your body. There really is a conflict between the two. Even though the brain's just one thing, it's really being influenced by two forces. One is this rational thinking logic machine. The other is this completely kind of irrational feeling wanting machine. And these two machines of the brain, these two perceptions of mind, are definitely in conflict for control, because the intelligence is no longer willing, in my opinion, even to just be used as a scheming tool for the little selfish, needful beast, because the intelligence has told it quite clearly and acquired some emotional connections to the idea that there are concepts like fairness that some people don't even understand the word. I think that's because they just haven't run enough intelligent programming through their brain, how important that word really is. Yeah, that just illustrates the conflict, because there's nothing innately, it's not going to come from the selfish beast. It has to come from the intelligence, and the intelligence just isn't going to be used anymore. It's not going to be a hammer for the ape. It's going to be a chain for the ape. It's not going to, it's just like, that's probably a good analogy, is that the brain isn't going to be a tool that the ape gets to use to club something. The brain is now a cage that confines the ape and controls the ape and keeps the ape away from clubs. Yeah. So that's probably enough. I'm probably over my time, so it'll probably be on the website. So again, Fred, sorry, I didn't know. You aren't very explicit about stuff sometimes, and it's your right to be, obtuse and not to make it a scene about stuff. But yeah, I'm sorry.